I'm joined by Andrew Lord in the Cardiff Devils shop after a successful 4-point weekend for your club, Andrew, and you must be delighted with not only the points but the character your team showed over the weekend.
Yeah, come back twice there against two very good teams. Yeah, what else can you say? I think it shows a lot, especially that third in Sheffield. That was good. That got us back on track. It had been a couple games where we were in a little bit of a lull, and it's really fun to be a part of a group when we're playing like that, with that kind of pace, that kind of intensity, that kind of scoring touch. I can't even explain how exciting it is. It's just great to be a part of, and I'm glad we were able to carry that through to Sunday and sort of complete the weekend.
You mentioned you've been a little bit of a lull. Of course, you had the long winning streak before that, then a couple of losses, and then perhaps not at your best against Manchester in the cup game. But so how important is it for you to and the guys just to get straight back in there in those big games and get those performances and those wins to get back on the horse, so to speak?
I think it's huge. I think the league's too good. You're obviously not going to win every game as much as I'd like us to win every game, but it's all about keeping those little lulls as short as possible to periods, shifts, ideally, maybe a game or two. And if you can do that over the course of the season, I think your team's going to be in very good shape. I think it's those longer losing streaks that just really take the wind out of your sails, and it's very hard to fight back from those.
On that Sunday night, I know you spoke to John post-game. Now you've had a little bit of time to reflect. It was an interesting game against the Clan, one in which for large parts, especially in the first period, you dominated, perhaps didn't get the rewards on the score sheet that you might have had. They defended very well in front of Gary Russell there. What was that like as a challenge for your club to see it out in the end? Because it was a game you dominated so much early on, and then they sort of came back into things and put pressure on you on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's great. Another testament to the character. I think we've learned a couple lessons early on in the season here. We had 2 games against Nottingham there, similar, where they really played defensive. They packed it in. Their goaltender was good. A couple games against Coventry, the same thing, and we've addressed that. We've worked on a few things to hopefully help us in those situations, and I think Sunday, I think it all kind of came together, and we'd learned our lessons, and it was good. It was a real character win, and it was nice to get that. I thought that first goal was absolutely huge to get us on the board, and then obviously the 2 and the third were tremendous as well.
Perhaps one area that wasn't at its best was the power play over that time, and again, traditionally under your stewardship, the power play at the Devils over the course of the season is always very strong. When you go into those little dips, though, is there something when you face a big weekend coming up where you work on things specifically, or are you just happy that the guys know what they're doing on the power play and things will just turn around?
No, we definitely work on some stuff. We changed mid-game there after the first. We went to a third power play unit, tried to get a couple bigger bodies in net front, being a little bit more direct. We just felt Braehead was so up-tempo, so aggressive on their kill that if we got some pucks and bodies to the net, good things could happen. I'm not totally sure what we're going to do. We got 2 days left here, so we're looking at a few different avenues. We'll definitely have a plan in place. We're in a lucky situation. We got tons of talent. Sometimes it's tough, makes it extra tough for decision making, but no, we'll get that back going. I think the first period, we still had some good looks. Execution was a big thing there. We were running routes. Guys were doing what they need to do. It was just a little bit of, finishing touch there and making, making a couple more plays. And I think we would have had 1 or 2 in the first. But Coventry, it'll be, they're an up-tempo kill, small rink as well. Very good goaltender, so we're going to have to be on our game, and we can't let this power play become a thing by any means.
Just in terms of your work through the week, for people to get a little bit of an insight, I suppose, just how your week runs. You've obviously come off the back of a 4-point weekend, which is a nice way to start the week for you as you go into coaching and training, heading into the weekend's games. Just for the fans at home, can you give us a general idea, not too specific, I suppose, but of how the week will run into Saturday night?
I'm not going to be specific at all, but there's a good review period, seeing how we played over the weekend, and the longer I go along here, I think how your own team plays is a huge thing. I know we always do put emphasis on knowing what the other team does and countering that at times, but at the end of the day, especially with the skill set we have, the veteran team we have, I think sticking to our focus, what we need to do to play effective hockey is the utmost importance, and we spend a great deal of time on that. And there's always the little individual meetings, keeping guys confident, making sure everyone's on the same page goes a long way as well. big believer in open communication. I always, past coaches that played mind games or weren't always open with myself or other players, it causes problems. And I think that's one thing that we really pride ourselves on here, at everyone kind of, knows what's going on, and maybe they don't exactly like what I have to say, but at least they get to hear it. So yeah, those are a few little things, and there's obviously some fun mixed in there. There's some harder stuff mixed in there, and it's a nice balance.
Coventry on Saturday night is going to be a real interesting test. You've had physical encounters against them this season. They've played well against the Devils by large part, but they come off the back of 3 losses up in the Scottish triple header. You know how difficult that trip is, of course, having done that recently yourself. And Danny Stewart was saying in an interview after that 3rd game, perhaps they've hit rock bottom right now, and that actually potentially makes them quite dangerous going into their building Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean they've played us tough all year, even in preseason. It's always been very close checking affairs. We know they're going to play physical. We know it's going to be a gritty game. They have a hard-working group. They also have some skill. We know what their goaltender's like. It feels like we've played them quite a few times now over the last few years, and they have a lot of pride. Danny Stewart's going to get them back working very hard. I also think having a full week of practice for them will be huge, because I'm pretty sure their players just got in for those games. I'm not even sure if they got to practice. They're 2 new players, that is, and it'll be a very tough test with Ben Davies now. They have 4 quality lines, and it'll be a tough one. We got to be ready. I'm
sure over the course of your career you've played in sides where perhaps there's been a little bit of a losing run and that desperation starts to come in. What does that do to a club that are in Coventry's position now? They're back in front of their home fans. They're going to play that desperate kind of hockey. For you as a club going in there, what kind of thing are you expecting from them? Does it change the way they play or their mentality and the challenges that you face?
I think that's sort of maybe the thing that tricks everyone that doesn't do this for a living. It's you never really know how guys are going to react. For their team, it could be some guys that gets going. Maybe it makes a few guys too nervous. You never know. And on any given night, I think that's what makes this sport so great, is on any given night, anything can happen. And again, it's just back to that last question. It's really focusing on ourselves, all about the start. Let's have a good start. Let's keep our turnovers down. Let's play our up-tempo style. A lot of passion out there. And then obviously all the finer details that we keep behind closed doors. But that's essentially it. And I think if you get too bothered by what everyone else is doing or on social media or the fans forums, you'll drive yourself insane, and you really just got to stay, focused on a, kind of what we need to do.
Just one further question on Coventry, and a team perhaps in their position, and we've talked about how they perhaps have been one of the more physical sides against your club this season. John spoke to Todd a little bit earlier as well, and there was a reference to the run on Andrew Hotham, one of the league's best players, one of your best players, and perhaps that there wasn't a huge reaction on a physical standpoint from your club in that regard. Is that something which you yourself as coach thinks maybe is something that needs to be ramped up a little bit, and I suppose especially with the challenge that you might face in Coventry, who've been one of the more physical sides against you this season?
Yeah, I definitely think it needs to be ramped up. I think, we had a good, honest talk about 10 days ago there, and, I will have to say, for the majority of this season, there's been very little of that. That was a rarity, maybe a one-off case even, where another team sort of ramps it up on us. And Braehead plays that style. They got some big bodies there that are confident, the guys that know how to fight as well. And, we just got to make sure that doesn't turn into a thing. That's about it. And for the most part, I've been very happy with the amount of room our top guys have had this season. I know from a fan's perspective, I'm sure they'd like some more fights. They're obviously fun. It's good for the crowd base and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we definitely talk behind closed doors. We don't just let things slide here in Cardiff.
Turning our attention to Sunday, and you play the Sheffield Steelers in a top-of-the-table game here, and I'm sure that one's not going to take long to sell out here on Sunday night. You've played the majority of your games, you're top of the league at the moment. The majority of those games have been away from home as well. I know you don't spend too much time thinking about home and away, but you do have 3 wins up in Sheffield, which is a big part of, I suppose, why you stand top of the table with those away wins. I'm sure that gives you huge confidence. The one time they played here, of course, perhaps wasn't the Devils' best game. What are you doing so well on the road against the Steelers this season that perhaps last time didn't happen here and can be changed for this weekend?
Yeah, I actually didn't know that about all the road games until someone tweeted at me. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. But we just a lot of things really. I thought that game at home against Sheffield was one of our poorest, to be honest. Ranks right up there with our game in Belfast there the other week for lack of jump. Turnovers through the roof, lack of commitment to details and all those finer things that make our game good make it what it is when it's good. And we just, as long as we play our game, really, I don't think it has anything to do with home or away. Maybe, I'm not a shrink. I'm not in every guy's mind, so it's hard. But maybe there's the odd, we're at home, we got to make it a little extra sexy for the fan base. But I do think we have an experienced enough group that isn't so much the case, because we've also had some great home games as well. So really, again, that commitment to our details and making sure we have the passion. And at the end of the day, I think those games, it really comes down to work ethic between us and Sheffield, because both sides are fully stacked. Both teams have the skill. They're very evenly matched.
Absolutely, and we've talked in commentary a lot about how fast the Devils are this season, and the last time the Steelers were here, we certainly felt they were up there, if not perhaps on the night, a little bit quicker than the Devils were. That's a really fast team. It's going to be an exciting game, no doubt.
Yeah, they definitely were faster than us there. It was, again, when you're turning the puck over, or when we're turning the puck over through the neutral zone, at the offensive zone blue line, a team like that knows how to counter. They work on that religiously. It's a huge part of their game. They're built for that from top to bottom, and that obviously plays right in their hands. So, we're going to need to limit those turnovers, get the puck in deep, make sure we have players on the defensive side, and defend well.
Can I just check with you if you're able to disclose just an update on the injuries going into the weekend? How are things looking?
Things are good, yeah. We got hats off to Mark Richardson. He played on about one leg last weekend. Doubt anyone even knew that, but the guy was a warrior. He's back being healthy, which is good. And Mark Lewis is right there, so that'll be I think he'll be good to go too. So my decisions will be nice and fun the next 2 nights. Hopefully I get a bit of sleep here.
I'm sure we'll catch up with you after the game on Sunday to look ahead to the game on Wednesday against Nottingham. But that is the 30th anniversary game here in Ice Arena, Wales. There's going to be some special guests here. John Lawless will be here as well, the man who started it all in Cardiff. Obviously, it's about winning the game for you, but those kind of experiences and being part of this club and the direction it's going in must be a real thrill.
Yeah, it's awesome. I feel like every weekend, hats off to the office staff there and Todd and the owners are really bringing a lot of stuff to the table here. Bruce Dickinson last weekend was pretty cool. I know you guys were pumped up about that, and that 30th anniversary. What can be said? Unbelievable. It's been a wild ride, and I've only been here for 4 years. It's been wild, so I can only imagine the guys that have been here for longer, guys like Mark Richardson and even Matthew Myers and Josh Batch. So it'll be a special evening. Get your tickets again, and we'll make sure we bring our energy.
Well, tickets for that 30th anniversary game next Wednesday, and of course Sunday night's huge match against Sheffield Steelers at cardiffdevils.com. Of course, if you can't make it, you can join us on IceTime.TV for live coverage, IceTime.TV to pick up your webcast tickets for that one. We'll have coverage from 5:40 on Sunday night against Sheffield. We'll see you there.